Hey guys, welcome to Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'm Jeremy Yoder, and you may be wondering why I'm out here in the snow in front of an industrial facility. Well, inside they do a whole lot of metal fabrication, and specifically, they're building some offset smokers, what I think are the best offset smokers in the entire world. Let's go in and check it out. Here we are in the break room slash lunchroom at this facility, and this is called MKR, if you guys want to know about it. But this is where I first met the team here, and in front of a whiteboard, I gave them all of the ideas I had ever thought would be good for an offset smoker. And to their credit, they built me a prototype with every conceivable idea that I thought would improve the performance of the smoker. And so we're talking about engineering principles, we're talking about fabrication principles, all kinds of things. But all that theory doesn't matter until you actually put it into practice. You build the thing and you cook with it. So let's go see how they're building it. We'll talk about some of those features, and then ultimately we're gonna cook with it. Always be safe. All right, so to lead us on a tour, we have Doug. He's the CEO, and he's going to show us some of the incredible equipment that they have here at MKR and why that's going to make a difference for building smokers consistently and at the highest quality standard. I see something right in front of us here, Doug. What's this thing?
So this is a new Fanuc robot that we just bought. Has a Lincoln Electric welder. Has a 78-inch reach. The speed is unreal. Right now, when we start quoting things, it'll be 3 to 6 inches that we can go off and do in a minute. This will do 18 inches in a minute. The other part, when we look at something like a tank, like a smoker,
sure.
When we start from the one, it's a continuous bead all the way around. You're not gonna have any hot spots, you're not gonna have any divots in the metal. It is gonna be continuous weld.
That's really cool. So you have more precision with this than you would by hand.
Precision and speed, and the quality is out of this world. That is a stop. So if you have something that continuously goes all the way around, you won't have any of these inconsistencies. It will be the bead all the way around.
So it aesthetically looks better,
yes.
But also
functionality.
Better integrity. As you guys can tell, they actually build things here. Right.
At MKR, we have 6 bays. Based off of how we actually flow work through the shop. This is for a customer that does containerized barges and tugboats. So this is going to be seaworthy. So this has to be something they called ABS, American Bureau of Shipping certified. So everything has to be ultrasonic tested, and then all the welds have to be verified afterwards. But when we do things for the aerospace and defense, obviously it has to be quality. Obviously it has to be precise to the spec every single time.
One of the running jokes I have with my friends who've built their own smokers and stuff, when they send me a picture of a bad weld or something that doesn't look so great, they always joke, oh, well, it's not going into space. Well, here at MKR, they build things for the aerospace and defense industry, so they have to meet that standard. So in comparison, building smokers is easy stuff for these guys.
This is another part to the transition boxes that we looked at before.
Yeah.
Same customer. This is called a ladder rack. The machine that's in the back is called a sub-arc. And if you come in and if you look at this piece of metal, obviously you can still feel the heat.
Feel for.
So we've got to heat it up to 350 degrees before we weld on it. And if you look at this piece right up here, every single one of these is a single pass that runs the entire length of the platform. To layer it has to be precise. All this flux and sand that comes off, that ensures that the heat actually goes through and actually fuses to the metal. This piece actually goes all the way up 20 feet and does the entire track 50 feet.
Wow.
So these ladders are 45 feet long.
That's crazy. I don't know, it's just I've never seen any kind of metal fabrication on this kind of scale.
Right.
I've been to shops that people have where they build smokers and they might have, a Lincoln welder and a plasma cutter and maybe, a couple other pieces. They might have a press brake if it's a big smoker building shop. the scale of what you guys are able to do here is completely different. It's a different world. It's not a difference just in degree, it's a difference in kind. It's like the kind of structural welds that you guys are doing, things that really, really matter. It's really impressive. So this isn't like the 2025 Hulk smoker or something?
Well,
World's heaviest smoker? It could be.
well, you could put a couple bulls in there, couldn't you?
You can put whole animals in there for sure.
Right. So at MKR, one of our mainstays is our ability to be able to roll plate metal. So all these pieces that we see rolled behind us, they come off as plate, and then we can roll the Heller. We can go up to 2-inch thick plate, which once you get it, past that 1.5 inches, you start getting 2 inch, you start setting yourself aside from other folks.
So rolling 1/4-inch thick steel,
Piece of
not a problem.
So if we look at the fireboxes here, obviously these start off as flat plate. You roll until you get to the right geometry. That's all done by hand now. So we need to get to where it's computer controlled. And then you just tack it to make sure, and then we go over to the robot, do all the same continuous seam.
By automating parts of this process, you're not lowering the standard, you're actually improving the standard.
Right.
Like perfect consistency, have control of precision. That's all really exciting.
Yeah. These are 9 smoker bases, the frames, all laser cut. All that is precision laser. It is so smooth. We don't have our laser here yet. We're getting our laser first quarter of next year. It's a game changer as far as putting these things out. To knock out these 10, they probably knocked out all 10 in less than 20 minutes.
Yeah. That's insane.
If I were to do that on the plasma, you would have to grind every single surface, and to do these 10, it'd probably take you the better part of 5 hours to do.
It would take me a lot longer than that, speaking from my own plasma cutting skills.
Sorry.
But just the precision that you have on all these is really impressive.
The program is the same every single time. So the difference between the first one that you run off the line to the 1,000th one you run off the line, everything will be exactly the same.
Consistency in barbecue and in metal fabrication, both extremely important.
Yes.
You see a number of unique features in the smoker. What I really wanted for this was to be the best offset smoker, regardless of size, regardless of price, regardless of origin. I think that this is the best offset smoker that exists anywhere in the world because it has novel design features that improve both your experience as a cook and your experience as an eater and consumer of the food that you make, because I've done everything in my power to make this the ultimate barbecue smoker.
There are 2 of these grates in every smoker. That's the main surface for the meat. This is also laser cut and bent, so it actually fits inside.
With grates, they're often overlooked, which means they're often of inferior quality. Whereas with these grates, they're laser cut, so they're perfectly precise. You don't have any issues with them not fitting properly. And whereas with expanded metal, you have a relatively weak surface, so you can put pressure and bend it. This is thick steel, and it's going to be resistant to any kind of warping or bending. In addition to that, one of the things that I'm most excited about is that there's no wasted space. You can see that these holes are rather large, which is exactly what you want. You want large holes to maximize the airflow around whatever you're cooking in the smoker. And here's the game changer. I haven't seen anyone come up with something that works this way. When these come together, take a look at this. So rather than having a 2-inch wide section of support that the expanded metal is welded to, here we have one piece that's bent. So this acts essentially just like one of these other grids where you have this open space. So you don't have a big chunk of whatever you're cooking that isn't exposed to the airflow. So this is an ideal design, and it's a lot more sturdy than what you'd traditionally find in most smokers. You might laugh at me for getting so excited about these grates, but these are just simply the best I've ever seen. I was promised that they're going to be awesome. They're even better than I thought. With smokers in general, and offset smokers in particular, managing airflow is critically important. So we developed this to manage the airflow coming from the firebox into the cook chamber. It's going to be oriented in the smoker like this, which means that a majority of the hot gases will be directed up and over your food, shielding it from the most damaging high temperature molecules. We're going to allow some of the airflow to go through these holes so we don't have a dead spot right next to the firebox. And we have a third method of getting the air into the cook chamber. It can actually flow below this piece of metal. So we have relatively low temperature gases coming out of the bottom, moderate temperature gases coming through these holes and interacting with the food right away, and the highest temperature gases get routed up over the food, so by the time it interacts with the food, it is perfect barbecue temperature, and you're able to use this grate from end to end, something that I can't really say about any other offset smoker. Let's take a look at the firebox. And the firebox is really important because this is where all the meaningful activity happens during a barbecue cook. How you run the fire, how much oxygen you allow to get to the fire, the temperature at which the combustion takes place. All of that matters in terms of how this thing cooks and the flavor you produce. And so to get the exact results we wanted, we had to do some different things rather than just having a metal tube where you build a fire and run your smoker, which is totally fine. What happens often with backyard smokers is that you have trouble keeping the coal bed hot enough to keep the fire going. What we've done here is we actually have kind of a sleeve, but it's shaped like a U, because when you fully insulate a firebox on a backyard size smoker, it becomes too efficient and the temperatures inside the cook chamber go too high. What this does is it retains heat in the bottom where we collect all the coals, so that every time you add a log, they turn into a lit log really, really quickly, which is exactly what we want. The rest remains uninsulated, so it can bleed off some of that heat, because we're not after maximum efficiency, we're after maximum effectiveness in cooking barbecue. The next feature I want to talk to you about is this little stack here. This is probably the first thing you notice if you spend a lot of time looking at offset smokers, because this is something that I don't think exists anywhere else. I think this is the only unit being produced in the world today that has this. And the reason why it has it is very simple. I want to use this to bleed off extra heat. Because oftentimes in backyard smokers, you can spike the temperature and you can either interrupt and pause your cook by opening the door, which isn't ideal, or you can risk burning the food that you spent, 8, 10, 12 hours cooking, which is also not ideal. What this allows you to do is to bleed off that extra heat, because those hottest gases that got directed upward by that plate are going to be directed right here towards the stack. So any additional heat that you need to bleed off can bleed off from this small auxiliary stack. In addition, one of the side benefits that's really underrated is this is going to help create more turbulence of airflow inside the cook chamber. With smokers, turbulence is good. On airplanes, not so great. But with smokers, it's what helps you lay on thick, dark bark that makes the food look aesthetically incredible before you take a bite. And lastly, with this auxiliary stack, if you want to maximize your efficiency and not bleed off any additional heat, you can move this closed and it will operate more like a traditional smoker. Now, that might not be what you want to do always, but you still have that option. You want it to give you maximum flexibility in how you want to run the smoker to get exactly the results that you want. The next thing you may have noticed is that the ends of this smoker don't look like most offset smokers, especially those that are rolled out of pipe. Most ends are flat. This end is not flat, and the reason is twofold. Number one, it directs those gases toward this auxiliary stack, so we can do with those gases what we choose. And second is it begins the flow of air from the firebox side to the stack side, improving the overall airflow of the unit. Let's go take a look at the other side and see what we do with the airflow as it reaches the stack. And on this end of the smoker, we have the super collector. Now, you're probably familiar with collectors that exist on most offset smokers. Typically, they're triangular in shape, but with this, what we created is what I like to call a super collector, because we're not only bringing the gases in from left and right, we're also bringing them in from top and bottom. And that allows us to not only just have a period of dead space here at the end of the grate, like most collectors, because you can't cook inside them. What this allows us to do is maximize the grate space and cook all the way up to this point right here, because this angle allows the temperature gradient from the top of the cook chamber down to the grate to be even, so that you get even cooking all the way from the firebox end to the point where the exhaust gases exit out of the stack, giving you maximum space for this size smoker. The last feature I want to discuss with you guys is the stack. You guys can see that it has sufficient height to draw air really well, and it's got a diameter large enough to move a large volume of air, so you never have to worry about not having enough horsepower in the tank to get the job done in terms of getting the next piece of wood lit, because that's the battle you're always fighting with offset smokers. This makes it a very easy battle to win every single time. So I hope you guys have enjoyed the tour here of the MKR fabrication facility and this new smoker. I haven't told you the name yet. Its name will be the Evolution, and it'll be made by Superior Smokers, a new company that's formed to make this smoker because we believe in it. So we think superior not in terms of us as people, but in terms of the quality of smoker that we could produce. We think it's going to be superior to any other product on the market that could compete with it. We truly believe in it in the deepest possible way. Additionally, if you guys want more information, be sure to check out my YouTube channel, because this will be showing up in cooks in the future. We're going to be doing a lot of testing that we're going to share with the public, and we're going to be 100% transparent about the results that we get from our testing. I don't think anybody is doing that, but you as a customer deserve to have all of the information. We've got nothing to hide. This is a product we truly believe in. Like I said, I hope you enjoyed the tour of the factory here and the tour of the Evolution smoker coming soon. Be sure to keep an eye out for it. I'll be posting about it on Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, everywhere at Mad Scientist Barbecue. I'll see you guys next time.